Hi, I'm Edward Vermillion. Recently I had the pleasure of interviewing both Gene Beck and Scott Woodman of Prepaid Legal Services. Gene Beck has a mid-level background in human resources and a vast experience in small business and group benefits, and CDLP. Scott Woodman, in addition to being an expert in prepaid legal services, is a California licensed attorney practicing in business and tax law. The interview is very informative. I encourage you to watch. Let's hear what they have to say. All right, we're here with Gene Beck and Scott Woodman. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you being here. And Scott, most people think that you only need a lawyer when you're in trouble, but really, more realistically, you need a lawyer for other reasons. What are some of the reasons that you might actually need a lawyer for?
Well, Ed, there are a lot of reasons.
I object. I'm sorry, I just always wanted to say that to a lawyer. Go ahead.
That's a good one. There are a lot of reasons for needing a lawyer. In fact, there are 28 known areas of law, and these kinds of issues, all kinds of issues come up on a daily basis. I mean, I've been practicing for about 20 years, and I only do business and tax law, so I can't tell you the number of times that my clients have had issues that I couldn't help them with, and I had to find some way of helping them and get them to the proper attorney. So people that have vibrant businesses know this. They know about issues of contracts or employees. Some issues are even narrower. You know, I've had clients that do import-export that have had customs issues, and customs attorneys charge $600-700 an hour. And some issues are simpler. I mean, every business has to deal with contracts. They have to deal with vendor contracts and employee contracts and client contracts. And you know, businesses come to me because they want to make sure that those contracts are ironclad and that what they want to accomplish with those contracts they can accomplish. So all kinds of issues. I mean, it's just too numerous to document. And these business owners need to know that they have a resource to help them with those situations. And actually, proactively is even better than responding to some issue. It's better to know what the contract states and to know that the contract states what you want it to state than it is to find out after the fact that what you thought would occur with your contract won't occur.
Isn't it true that Donald Trump made a statement recently that, he has an attorney, not necessarily when he's in trouble, but he uses an attorney so that way he doesn't get in trouble? How did that go?
It's absolutely true. I mean, Donald Trump talks to his attorney before he makes any decisions. I have clients that won't buy a car without talking to me about whether they should lease or buy. Simple, everyday kinds of situations that people face, whether they're business owners or just individuals, that successful people like Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, simply don't make those decisions without talking to an attorney first, and it usually saves them big in the long run.
Yeah. Now we're talking about, of course, Donald Trump and huge business when we're talking about that type of money. But we're here with the Chamber of Commerce, and not everybody with the Chamber makes that kind of money, although we'd like to. But we do get affected by other things. And Gene, from a human resources perspective, how do these same issues basically affect the business owner and the business itself?
Well, if you're in a business with employees, any employees who are experiencing legal issues are typically calling in sick to deal with those. And it costs money off your bottom line. You are either having to stay home, call in sick as an employee, and take care of those issues during those hours, or you're having to worry about it while you're on the job, so you're not as productive as an employee, and that affects the business. And we can help with that.
Fantastic. Okay, so obviously legal issues can come up at any time, or decisions that you have to make. And so what are generally business owners or individuals doing to actually pay for their legal services? What is your experience with that, Ben Scott?
Well, the way the legal profession has operated for most of the last 100 years, until maybe the last 20 to 30 years, you had to pay an hourly rate. That's how attorneys bill, unless it's an issue of contingency or something like that. So I charge my clients $300 an hour, and that can add up pretty quickly, because if I have to review a contract, that might take an hour, or prepare a contract, that might take 5 to 10 hours. And so there's a reason why I would imagine most business owners don't utilize attorneys as often as they probably should, because the cost it's difficult. It's difficult if you have an issue, or maybe you have a situation that you don't even know is an issue, and you want to find out some advice, you want to get some advice on it, but you have to worry about writing a check and all those zeros because it is just so expensive.
Yeah, which is interesting because I would have to say that you're probably putting yourself out of business here because, with prepaid legal services, I know that from my experience in utilizing their services, I paid nothing close to $300 an hour. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that I personally received were included in my benefits at no cost, but even just by way of consultation and being able to make a phone call and throw something past an attorney and get an opinion on something. So appreciate the fact that you're making people aware of these benefits to help save not only individuals but also businesses literally thousands of dollars, which if you have a problem could really mean the difference between staying open as a business or having to shut your doors. Gene, have you noticed of course in today's economic environment the trend for people wanting to reduce expenses? And when we're talking about employee benefits and we're talking about things that cost employers money, typically health insurance and those types of things, prepaid legal as a benefit in a business, from my experience, isn't necessarily going to tax the business owner.
That's correct. Our employees, any employees in a business, can have access to an attorney if they choose to do so. It doesn't cost the employer a thing. And basically, they have an opportunity to have access to that consultation that you're talking about. They are experiencing things like short sales, mortgages, foreclosures. It's a rough economy, and a lot of legal issues are things that people feel they can't afford to contact an attorney for. With our plans, we can help with that.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you both for taking your time to be here today. It's a good thing that I wasn't on the clock, Scott, and we hope to be talking to you again very soon. Well, I hope you found that information very useful and very informative. Today's disclaimer is that today's interview was not intended to imply any legal advice or benefits. It is intended, however, to educate you about a valuable service that's available to you and to consider scheduling an appointment with either Scott or Gene. Scott and or Gene should be contacting you in the near future to make an appointment time available. Should you consider contacting them first to get information right away, please feel free to contact them by calling 623-256-7640. Again, that's 623-256-7640. I hope you have a great week. We look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.